everyone. Welcome to Pandosphere TV. We're very excited to have you. Thanks for joining us today. And with us today, we have Marc Johnston, who is a personal friend and mentor of mine. So we're super excited to have you on today, Marc. And he's going to be sharing with us his story with the law of attraction and what he's seen it do for others, and especially focusing on why we need a mentor to kind of help guide us along this journey. So Marc, if you want to go ahead and kind of introduce us, tell us a little bit about your background and what brought you to the law of attraction, that'd be great.
Sure. I've actually been really interested in just understanding how people work for a long time. Probably for the last, I would say 10, 11 years, I've just run the gamut of, trying to help people, trying to move people towards change. I've done everything from religion to psychology, spent a brief time as a therapist. That's my background in school, but it's been more recent that I've kind of picked up the law of attraction principles. And what really spoke to me about that was just how it kind of brought everything together. It just, everything that I studied, all the books that I read, all the schooling that I did was kind of all summed up very succinctly and very, it was very accessible in these laws of the law of attraction, laws of success.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love what you said about helping people, because there really is a lot of suffering out there. And I feel like a lot of it is silent suffering, especially here in the United States. And that we all have things that we're struggling with, like depression, anxiety, relationships, financial. There are so many just suffering out there in the world. And so that's what I really love about what you're doing and what we're doing here at Pandosphere, is reaching out to help those people in need and help take their lives to the next level. So if you want to share with us a little bit what got you interested into the law of attraction, like what kind of drew you to those principles that you talked about?
Sure. You know what? I'm going to be honest. I actually thought it was a bunch of hippie junk at first. My wife, bless her, is usually much further ahead in just about everything than I am with these sort of things. And so, once again, this time, she kind of paved the way for me. First, it started off as just her reading some books, getting some things, actually trying to practice the law of attraction. And even then I was thinking, okay, well, this is just another phase of hers. She tends to do these sort of things, but she wanted to manifest buying our own home. And sure enough, we bought our own home. She wanted to manifest starting her own business, and she did that. And I started kind of seeing, hey, maybe there's a little bit of something to this, and maybe it's not, the hippie junk that I was first calling it. And I think it's important to, just for everyone to realize when you're wrong, and just to accept things. So I started looking at it myself and started seeing that there was some real solid backing to it. There's some real truth to it, and it really helped.
Yeah, that's awesome to kind of get your hands on that tangible evidence that your thoughts do create your reality. And exactly. I know you've seen that now in several other people's lives. So what has been your experience with that, watching people transform their lives and go from being maybe at a place of more like pain or unfulfillment, working towards what they want?
I'm glad you asked that question. I think a good example here is even my own story. So a while back, I had actually, I was at a really low point in my life. Off and on, I think I've dealt with things like depression or other just issues like that. I just had some loss in my life. Specifically, the plans that I was making for my career weren't panning out, and I just kind of stalled for a while. And this is actually when my wife decided that she wanted to change things and start getting into the law of attraction. And when I started picking it up myself, right there, I kind of saw, hey, this is a really good way of getting people up on their feet again. It's a way of giving them a plan of action. It's a way of helping them to see a way forward and out of the mess that they're in. actually, this whole Pandasphere project thing is kind of a result of me trying to put things back together and trying to move forward. I knew that I wanted to help people, and I knew I wanted to counsel people, and this was a great way to move forward with it, to continue what I was already enjoying doing, what I'd already learned to do, and now I'm adding on these great law of attraction principles. So I mean, myself, I picked myself up and I'm moving forward because of the law of attraction.
Yeah, very well said. Excellent. I liked how you compared, like, not compared, but how you brought in action. That these aren't just like fluffy thoughts or ideas. They really are like action steps, because we can take what we know, but if we don't actually live it, then it's never going to change our lives. So I
Yeah, you
think
know
that's
what? I've seen a lot of, or I've heard a lot of people kind of, even family members say, "Oh, that's, positive thinking. It's not going to help anything." But you're right. It's a lot more than just thinking positive. I mean, that's important, but if you're really actually focusing on what you want, if you're thinking those positive thoughts, you're going to do something about it. And yeah, like you said, that's what this is kind of all about.
yeah. That's a common question that I think we've had is like, is it just positive thinking? That's kind of a misconception that people have, is that this law of attraction thing is that you just think positive and then your life like magically becomes better. um, However, there
Yeah.
is some truth to like when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yeah.
We've heard that, and that learning to retrain your brain and reframe the issues or the problems in your life can create massive differences in where you go, like down the road, like and how you handle those things. So that, I think that's why it's so important that we do this work and that we work on ourselves in those ways. So.
Well, you said, there's a thing to be said though for positive thinking and what it can do to change a situation. I like giving examples, even my own examples.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not always the most perfect person. So one story about that. My wife and I, we took our kids for a long walk. My wife really had this goal of walking to the next town. It's a good like 4 miles away on this trail.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time that we were getting through, it had been hours. We had several small children, and I'm gonna be honest, I was grumpy
Yeah.
about the whole thing that was going on. But my wife, once again, is clear. The better half in this situation, and she just started saying lots of positive things. Like, I'm so glad that you came on this walk with me. This really meant a lot to me, and you're saying things like, you're such a great husband. I had so much fun. You look like you're having, just saying lots and lots of positive things. And I couldn't stop myself. I started smiling, and my grumpy comments started fading away. And so, even though we were just knocking positive thinking, there is something to be said about that. And, it is, like you said, you have to kind of train your brain and, yes.
Yeah. Excellent. So I know that for me, having a coach, having a mentor has been, I think, probably the biggest shift that I've seen in my life. Before, I was trying to do everything myself. I thought that all my problems were my own and would keep them from even my husband, my children, my family. Like, this is my stuff. I'm going to deal with it. And even with my goals, I thought, okay, these are my goals. I'm going to achieve them. Just kind of a really fiercely independent person.
Yeah.
And then I learned over the last several years the power of having a mentor, and I realized that there are people out there that are playing at a different level than I am, and they must know something that I don't know. And yeah, I could keep my pride and try to do everything myself and then take all the credit for it, but I'm really not getting anywhere with that kind of mentality. And so then I really started seeking mentors, coaches, people that were successful doing what I wanted to do, and then duplicating that success. And that's kind of what we're all about. So what have you found? Like, why is it so crucial that we find a mentor or a coach to help us kind of accelerate our lives and achieve what we want to?
It is absolutely important. If you're trying to be successful, it is absolutely important to have a mentor, to have an example, to be either an example to be shooting towards, or just someone to talk with that you can get some advice from. When I'm like you. I feel like I can do everything myself.
Mm-hmm.
And even even when I'm having problems, oftentimes I find myself thinking, well, I have that education, I have that training. I'm just going to talk myself through these issues.
Yeah.
But it never works out quite the same as talking to someone else. Having that outside perspective, they're going to think about things. They're going to see the situation differently. They're going to think things differently. They're going to be able to give you that other perspective. Um, Oftentimes when we have those problems, the reason why we have problems or the reason why we're stuck is because we're trying we're treading down those same paths over and over again. And what we really need is that outside perspective to say, hey, why don't you try something a little bit differently? And really, like I said, if you're aiming for success, getting a mentor, getting a coach is invaluable in that regard.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I just had a huge breakthrough this week because I spent 25 minutes on the phone with a coach, and just that outside perspective totally shifted everything for me. I realized that I was ramming my head against the rock again and again and again. And instead of being like water and going around the rock, I was just going to keep doing that again and again, and then being frustrated that I couldn't get the results. And I feel like a lot of people are in that same place. We're trying so hard to make a change, but we keep running our head into that rock. And sometimes you just need that person that says, hey, you know what? Why don't you try this? This might work out really well for you. So that is awesome to have that outside perspective. So yeah. What is your favorite thing about being a coach?
You know what? I think I'm a little selfish here in that I like being that person that can help so many people. I like people coming to me and having answers. I spend a lot of time reading up on things so I can have those answers for people, and I enjoy that aspect of being able to help people, being able to see the progress that people are making, and to know that I've made a difference in someone's life. I've tried other jobs. I've tried the sales positions. I've tried business type stuff. But I never really felt like that was really doing anything significant. Mm-hmm. And, if we're looking at a long-term perspective, are you going to really remember that person that sold you your car 10 years ago? Probably not. But if you have a coach, if you have someone that helps you get ahead in life, you'll remember them for the rest of your life. Absolutely. And like I said, it sounds selfish, but I think it's important, and I want to do something significant with my life.
That's awesome. That's why we're all here, to make a difference, that contribution. Now, what would you recommend for someone who's just getting started with the law of attraction? What kind of tips or advice would you have for that person that's just barely starting out?
If you're just barely starting out, I would say read. Just try to absorb as much information as possible, and do it every day. It's not enough to kind of dabble in things, to just here or there. If you're not absorbing more information every day, it's going to be so easy to let this kind of go by the wayside. People develop habits by continually doing the same things every day. And if you just dabble in it, this is just going to be another passing fad. It's going to be that thing that you did for those few weeks, those years ago, and you're going to be telling people, no, it doesn't work. Well, because you didn't really commit to it. So that's what I would say. I would say absorb as much information as you can and commit.
Beautiful. Yeah, that consistency is huge. Just like anything, like it took you this whole long to develop your brain to this point. So know that it's going to take some time to retrain your brain to think a different way. And that once you do retrain your brain, then the results around you, the physical world around you, it will catch up. But it's not going to happen overnight. So yeah, excellent advice, Marc, to be consistent and committed. Very good.
That's a good point there, where you're talking about how it doesn't happen overnight. And I had a thought going there for a second. What was I going to say? It was very profound. yes, people are looking for change, get rich quick or
Mm.
quick changes in their life. But like you said, you've had your whole life to thinking a certain way, or you've trained yourself to think a certain way for a long, long, long time. And if you're going to be successful, it's going to take hard work, it's going to take change, and it's going to take commitment.
Right. Absolutely. So, any final thoughts for us tonight, Marc, as we wrap this interview up?
That's a big, broad question. Final
Anything
thoughts.
that you really feel compelled to share with us before we go?
Well, I would say if you're thinking about, checking this out, if you're thinking about getting into the law of attraction, get in right now. Just do it. So many times people hesitate and kind of they second guess themselves, or they go and ask for another opinion. Don't. Just go do it. As soon as you start asking for other opinions, as soon as you start hesitating, you've already failed right there. Just do it.
Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you so much, Marc. We appreciate your time. And if you have a question for Marc, everyone watching, go ahead and leave a comment below, and we will definitely get back to you about that. We love to answer your frequently asked questions or any specific questions that you have to be able to help you in your own life. So thank you for watching Pandosphere Project TV, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you, Marc.
Bye. Thanks.